Hey, how's it going, Internet? My name is Matthew, aka EZBOT, and we're back with another Elektron Talk, episode 27. As I keep saying, the Elektron Talks they never end, and they never will end, for as long as I live. How's everybody doing? I just popped in here into my studio out of the Ricky Tinez stream, which was nice to see Ricky streaming. Doing some Elektron stuff, as per usual. It sounded really great. Some really cool stuff. Hope everyone is doing well on this Sunday evening. We're chilling. We're going to take a look at some acid boxes tonight and do some live production, because I've been writing some new music and I've been having a really great time doing it. So I want to talk about that, but we're going to talk about a couple of different acid boxes that I have with me now. And because I was like on the search for like a good acid box. I know I recently did that acid tutorial with your Octatrack, and it sounded pretty good. I mean, honestly, it gets the job done. But an actual acid box where I can turn the knobs on that machine and use the Octatrack at the same time, that's definitely more ideal, I would say. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing. And so I picked a few of them up, and then, well, there's more to it than that. Let's switch over to this cam here. Here is the ultimate Elektron setup, and of course, let's crack this sucker. It's not a LaCroix, whatever. It's not that, because they haven't sponsored me. So guess what? This is not LaCroix or or whatever. It's something else, cheaper and worse, but still very good. But this could be a LaCroix if you'd sponsor me. LaCroix, ball's in your court. Do it. Ah, delicious. Not nutritious, because it's got nothing in it but carbonation. So the acid boxes that we have, let me switch my little camera thing over here. Boop. We have the Roland TB-03 off the screen here. And it doesn't have to be off the screen, and we'll scoot the camera over and look at it for a second. But first, let's just talk about it's Croix. It's named after the LaCroix River. So I'm saying it right? Okay. Well, good. Good. Very good. Hopefully the audio levels are good. Let's just double check this real quick. I think those audio levels are good. To me, they sound excellent. My meters are reading, saying, they're not reading. They're showing me. I'm reading the meters. That was the Roland TB-03, by the way. So we're gonna do a battle of the affordable acid boxes minus the Behringer one. I kind of just like, okay, so I work at the synth shop. Behringer doesn't sell to small shops. They only sell to like Sweetwater, who is a $1 billion company. So we don't have Behringer there. But then again, Behringer has its own flavor to it in terms of using Behringer gear or acquiring Behringer gear. And I gotta say, there's part of me is like, I just kind of like stay away from Behringer. For one, I have access to synthesizers in a way that some people don't from working at the synth shop. So instead of getting, whatever, you get it. But they have come out with a lot of stuff now where I'm just like, like the Poly D, that thing sounds amazing. And it actually looks pretty cool too. And they have some other stuff that they've come out with that I'm just like, the RD09, I would really love an analog 909 drum machine. That'd be really cool. It's got individual outs. I don't know. They've definitely made some stuff that's like really caught my attention, even with working at the synth shop. But anyway, that's part of the reason why I haven't ended up picking them up. For one, we don't carry them. So because they don't work with smaller shops, they don't get to work with me, so I don't pick up their stuff. But another company came out with something very, very cheap. Cheaper than Behringer. And here it is. They... cheaper than Behringer. And you thought that the TD3 was affordable acid box. Well, you haven't met the Donner SB1, which looks nothing like a 303 at all. But it is absolutely a 303. That's all. That's what this is. This is a 24 dB low pass, not self-oscillating filter with a sequencer, with a delay, with just a decay, just an envelope amount. Or here's our envelope here. No, just an envelope decay. So just an attack decay as you would expect from an acid box. And I'm going to show you how it sounds. And if you want to pick one up, they hooked me up. So they sent me one over here. I was hesitant to. I've been like hesitant to accept gear from people for doing YouTube stuff because I don't like having a commitment to anyone. Like I don't want somebody else to drive my narrative. And just because this is like fun for me, and I think of myself more as an artist and educator than anything else, less than or more so than like a YouTube synth personality or something. But so I say no pretty often, and then I reached out to back out to Donner after they hit me up, and they were being very, very friendly with their offering to me to make a video. And I said, I was like, oh, send me that thing over. I want to show it on my stream. So I have 3 acid boxes to show you on the stream, and they sent it over. And it got here so fast. I was like, holy smokes, you guys not kidding around. And I've listened to it. It sounds great, and I'll tell you how it feels. So like it's a really cheap synthesizer, like cheap in terms of the price. We'll talk about the actual quality of the synth in just a bit, but it's a very affordable analog synthesizer. It has built-in effects and built-in distortion. So who is it competing with? It's not competing with the TD3 because it doesn't have all those built-in effects. It's competing with the TB-03, which you can kind of see right here. It's not competing with this guy. This is the Rare Waves Hydronium. This is another analog 303, 24 dB, slides, the whole thing. Literally, all it has is CV and MIDI. No sequencer, nothing. It's just the voice of the 303 in a really nice form factor. And it does sound like a 303. This is it's a grittier 303 sound. And I'm gonna show you. I mean, I don't just have it here just to talk about it, but I'm gonna show it to you. And then of course we have the Roland TB-03, and I can scoot my camera over so we can look at all the acid boxes in their majesty. Okay, all right, so acid box heaven, right? Acid box heaven. You have the Behringer TD3 and you want to get the modded version. You know, when they first came out, they mentioned the Roland TD3. I ordered 2 of them, and then I was like, oh, I canceled my order. Because I was like, oh, I work at the synth shop. I should just wait till they come into Patchworks. And, but then they didn't come, so I didn't get to get one. And then by that time, there was all this controversy, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just staying out of it right now because it became this like political thing. And I was like, I just stay away from that and media. Like I just don't entertain that on media. So I just avoided it and just kind of just forgot about it. But it's popped back in my head because I obsess over the 303 sound. I've always loved that sound. It's like one of the main sounds that drew me into electronic music in the first place, which is kind of funny because there's a story behind the TB-03, like its origin. The Roland TB-03 was originally designed to be a bass player. Like it's supposed to replace your bass player, or if you didn't have a bass player, you're supposed to be able to sequence it or use its sequencer and have that be your bass player in a band so that a guitar player and a drummer could play with it. The sequencer does not lend itself to doing that at all. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, that any guitarist was going to grab the TD3 and go like, oh yeah, this is going to cut it from my bass player. And it didn't. It flopped. It was a huge flop. This is like a giant flop by Roland that ended up being an underground powerhouse. So after it flopped by Roland, people were getting them for really cheap, and it ended up in the techno world. I think in the Detroit techno scene, and that's where it came from. Was the Detroit techno scene? Like that's why it got where it went, and then it ended up in Europe, and Europe made it like way bigger than it was over here. So that's kind of the story behind the TB-03. And I'll tell you what the TB-03 is, or what acid synthesizers are. They're typically, this is not the case, this is ACB technology, I'll tell you all about that in a second. But typically an acid synthesizer has a sawtooth, and it has a square wave. No pulse width, nothing fancy. We don't got LFOs, we got no modulation, we have accent for the sequencer, we have slides, and then we have a 24 dB filter, often misquoted as an 18 dB filter like I did in my video, which is a whole story unto itself. But it's a 24 dB filter, and it doesn't self-oscillate, meaning it doesn't generate a tone when it's turned fully resonant, when the resonance is turned all the way up. It makes that screeching sound instead, which sounds really good with distortion. And that's it. That's really all there is to it. It's just that filter. It's really short envelopes, like no attack for your envelopes. The modded TD3s have some cool envelope stuff. That's really great. The original sequencer is horrible. There is no doubt that that is the truth. This is the worst sequencer known to man. This sequencer is just awful, god awful. And if you're a pro at programming this, you tortured yourself to get to that stage of ability. Like, there had to have been a better way. There is a better way now. Everything has MIDI. Originally, the TB-03 did not have MIDI. That was a mod, the Devilfish mod, that they'd put into it, which would make them go for, like, nowadays, if it has a Devilfish mod, it's like a $4,000 box. It's literally plastic. If you've felt an actual 303, they feel like $120 synthesizers. They go for $4,000 just on pure nostalgic sound alone. I can understand if you own like a really nice studio and you're like trying to get that authentic sound for a recording artist that's coming in that's high profile, sure, but like just to own one, count me out. I'll take ACB technology. So let me tell you about ACB technology. This is analog circuit behavior. Roland dumped a ton of money, another Roland flop, kind of. Dumped a ton of money into what's known as ACB technology, which is analog circuit behavior. So what they did is they mapped the circuits. Instead of mapping the sound, they mapped the circuit and recreated the circuit on a digital level. My dog is so barky lately. They recreated the circuits of the whole TB-03 on a digital level, and that's what's in here. That's also the way they did the JU06A, the SH01, and one other one, or the JP08, a couple other ones. Anyway, they stopped doing it. They're still manufacturing those synthesizers, but they're not doing that technology anymore. They discontinued making synthesizers in that way because it was so expensive for them to do that. At least that's what I understand from what I read. And but it worked. Their technology worked. It's a digital representation of analog circuit behavior, and it really works. The TB-03 sounds phenomenal, and there's some really great reasons why you should get this, or over the Behringer one, or over, not over the, if you can get yourself an Avalon, I know they went on sale for like 2 seconds last week, and they were gone. Bam, they were gone. I went right to their website, tried to grab one. I don't care if it was $2,000. I probably would have bought one because I want one of those synths. But even the Avalon doesn't have some of the stuff that even this guy has, but the Avalon's still awesome. It's just a beautiful recreation of the 303. If you need someone to build you a Hydronium, Hauser, who is commenting right there, is the one who built this Hydronium. He's the one who got me this Hydronium, so thank you to Hauser for that. And to be honest with you, Hauser, I'm not using the Hydronium. I am using this Roland TB-03 ACB technology because, you know what? It's awesome. I really love it. Like, I actually love this synthesizer, and I'm going to go into that. But let's do a little sound demo of the Roland TB-03, and then we'll switch over here, and then we'll go over here, and then we'll just kind of like pop, 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 pop. and do a couple of those things here. I'll check in with the chat really quick. That's why I'm intrigued by the Cyclone BassBot. Yeah, the Cyclone BassBot, you know what was really great about the Cyclone BassBot? Was the Cyclone BassBot, they made the V1 of the Cyclone BassBot looks like an RE303, which is the very expensive version of a clone of the 303. I don't think they like calling it a clone. They have another way of saying it, but it's a clone of the 303. It's like an identical clone with a much nicer chassis. It's a metal body, but it looks very elegant and it has MIDI. It's great box. Cyclone made a version of it too that was way more affordable than the RE303 is, and they're now expensive. Not expensive like 303, not expensive like Avalon, not expensive like TB-03, but they're expensive like $500 up when they're supposed to be $200 or $300 originally. But they looked like 303s. They're really cool, but they're hard to find. The new Cyclone BassBot V2s that are in black and red and blue and gray that you can get from pretty much any synthesizer shop will do the trick. It'll do everything you need it to do that these boxes do. If you're just looking for the 303 sound, I'm going to tell you why I choose this one over all of them shortly. But the form factor on it is much smaller. I don't like the rounded edge. I don't like the way it looks. I like the way this one looks. I like the way this one looks. I don't know. This looks like a calculator, but it sounds like a 303. So they did what they had to do. Okay, 303. Check it out. Sawtooth wave. No distortion. It's such a good sound. Here's a square wave. Playing it over something sounds so good. Check this out. It's super dope, right? I mean, it sounds so good. We can't deny that this doesn't sound really, really good. It does. Sounds so good. And you can get them right now with 3 types built-in distortion. Okay, this is what's exciting to me. So I have the analog heat. I have the analog drives. We're talking Elektron shit right now. These are amazing distortion units. Analog distortion units, very powerful with presets. They're so great. They sound fantastic. The analog heat is the only one that has, I'm not gonna use analog heat just for the TB-03. I'm just not, they're too expensive. It's gonna be on the main mix or something. But the analog heat's the only distortion box that I own that has a dry wet mix of distortion. But so does the TB-03. You can turn on the distortion. Slowly. Wait, hold on. No distortion. You can gradually fade in how much distortion as opposed to hitting a stomp box and turning the distortion on. That's awesome. Otherwise, you'd have to have a distortion pedal that has a dry wet mix, or like you're turning up the gain but turning down the volume. I don't know. It's a whole procedure. This is a feature that makes this just really usable and really fun to play with like right away. So yeah, I love that. But not only that, it has 2 types of delay and a reverb in it, plus MIDI, plus a different sequencer than the original one. It has a regular like SH-101 style sequencer, which is very simple to use, and it has its original horrible sequencer if you want to torture yourself. Although the kind of music that you write when you use the horrible torturous sequencer will be kind of unique. Okay, so now that you've heard this synth, and you know how it sounds, let's switch it over to the Hydronium. So I'm going to take this MIDI and plug it into this one. And then we're going to take this cable, the Roland instrument cable here. Do I have to do that? No, I don't have to do that. We'll just take this from here. That should be the output, I'm hoping. Okay. So now this is going here. The MIDI channel's weird. Setting the MIDI channel's weird and annoying. Let's see. I think. Okay. Am I not plugged into the output? I think I am. Okay, we're gonna have to use an actual instrument cable for this, because I'm not gonna plug into the mix input on the bass line. We will go into the Digitact and set it to dual. Okay. Make sure I got the right MIDI channel going on here. I think I do. It's definitely triggering it. We're most definitely not getting any audio from it. Which I don't know why. They say the Hydronium is not a 303 clone. Well, it's not doing anything right now, which is super weird. There's definitely audio coming out. See what happens when we turn it off, turn it back on. No. Yeah, I mean, I had it working last time I tried it. There's nothing to do on it, so if it's not working, it's because it doesn't work. You may have to have another look at it, Hauser. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. What a bummer. All right. Well, I guess we know the Hydronium doesn't win this match. Let me see. One more try. What if we try seeing what happens if we use the send? No. Weird. Weird and sad. Okay. We're switching over to the Donner because the Hydronium isn't working. And not sure why. But the Donner is hooked up into the TB-03. Let's see if we can get MIDI to work on this thing. MIDI in. Oh, that's only the left channel. Okay. So I think we will use that cable for this. All right, let's go back into the Dig Attacked. And out here. Okay. Just friggin' works. Okay, let's talk about the Donner SB1, the Donner B-1, which just worked. Unlike our Hydronium, and I don't want to say anything bad about the Rare Waves Hydronium because it was working, and maybe something got knocked loose. I mean, these are a DIY build, so there could be something weird that happened in the process of. I honestly don't know. But here's the Donner B1, fully analog synthesizer. You can turn the drive on or off with it. It's got a tone knob for the drive. It's kind of like another filter. It also has a delay. So that's the Donner B1. God damn it, I'm so bummed that the Hydronium isn't working right now. I know it's not that cable either, because a brand new cable, well, and because it's working right here. But yeah, maybe we'll revisit that later if I can get it functioning again. So the Donner B-1, 16-step sequencer, that's what it has. I actually don't even know how to use the sequencer yet. I literally am trying it for like pretty much the first time right now. I heard it for like 2 seconds before I started the stream. It's got this calculator built into it. Looks like a pocket calculator from a Casio, or a Casio watch calculator. That's what this reminds me of. It has an analog acid sound. It's not quite the same as the Roland TB-03 that I played for you. It doesn't capture it that well, but it does give you the acid sound. It's got slides, distortion, delay, sequencer, MIDI in, MIDI out, so if you want to use it to sequence something else, I don't know why you would, but you could. It has an auxiliary input, a headphone input, a sync in and out for matching it with your other gear that has CV and gate, and a master knob. The way it feels like it looks. Like it looks like a plastic synthesizer, and that's what it feels like. So, you know, if you don't care about that, then you're gonna have an analog synthesizer that's just incredibly cheap. It's very, very cheap. And I did actually they hooked it up too. They gave me a 12% off site-wide link. And I have that in the stream description, and it's code EZBOT. So if you use the code EZBOT, when you're checking out from their Amazon store, I think it is, you can buy any of their stuff for 12% off. At least that's what they told me in the email, so hopefully it works that way. So you could buy a piano, because they sell pianos. They have mixers, they have pedals. I mean, they have a ton of stuff. So like Donner has everything. They're another company that I feel like is like a little mini Behringer, where they just have all sorts of stuff. You're like, I don't know, what are you guys doing this, but you're also doing this. And yeah, they just all have a lot of stuff. So you can get one for really, really cheap right now using that link. I don't get any money from it, so no skin off my back, or sweat. Hopefully there's no sweat on my back either. We don't like that. I think it sounds just fine. Totally usable. Take this and a drum machine and go make some acid. Easy. Like, it's gonna do the trick. It's gonna do what you need it to do. I wouldn't use its delay. I would probably use a different delay. The delay it has is like, it's not great. I mean, the delay in the TB-03 is okay. It's better than this one, I think, but they have like, you know, cost 3 times the price as this one. This is, you know, $400. This is like $115 or something. And this one has 2 different kinds of delay. It has a tape and it has a digital and it has a reverb. The rare waves, which we didn't get to hear, sounds a little bit more full than the B-1, but it sounds dirtier. It's a dirtier filter. And sadly, we have 5 minutes of me trying to get it to work in this stream, and I hope that never happens to me again, but of course it will, because that's what doing this live is like. So yeah, that's the 3 boxes, but really just the 2, sadly. And my pick is still the Roland TB-03 because it is the OG, so you can't really argue with me on that side of things. If I had an Avalon, I would choose the Avalon, maybe, probably, because it's just a beautiful, beautiful box. It's so easy to set stuff up on here too, because let me make sure we got this audio and stuff down there. Oh yeah, because I switched MIDI channels. Oh yeah. But what was the MIDI channel? Okay, so we got the MIDI channel. So if all you have to do is hold function and just start turning this knob, and you go through its very slim amount of options you have to change stuff. But it has multiple types of distortion. We're on the 3rd type right now. Here's the original one. When it distorts, the volume goes down like a lot. So I didn't like that, so I switched to a different one. Number 2 keeps the volume, keeps the bass, doesn't suck the bass out. Still goes down a bit. And then number 3, it's got more of a crunch to it. I like this one a lot. And then you can also change the delay type. So I'm on digital right now. It does sound good. Here's the tape version. So the tape version's cool, but I think the digital version is actually easier to use. And then it has reverb. It's actually kind of big. So this is your decay of your reverb, and then this is your dry wet mix. So that's crazy, right? It's got the exact acid sound that I need, that I love. I'm definitely not getting rid of this thing. I really like it. And I was like, I was trying to be a purist in my mind for a little bit, where I was like, do I, it's digital. Something about the 303 is that it's an analog synthesizer. It's an analog monophonic synth. And this is a digital monophonic synthesizer with built-in effects. So it's a little bit, it's a pill to swallow if you're an analog purist, which I am not. I am not an analog purist. You hear that? I'm not an analog purist, and I never will be. I don't want to be. I like digital oscillators. I think they're great. I think the ultimate spot is digital oscillators, analog filters. That's the ultimate spot. And the reason why I think that, I talked about this last week, but the reason I think that is because you can get the most complex waveforms out of digital oscillators. They're just way more flexible. And the analog filter is going to do its job. It's going to round off all those edges of that digital oscillator. So all you got to do is run it through an analog filter, analog VCA, and things are going to sound analog, but have the characteristics and features of a digital oscillator. So that's my go. I say go for that. Amen, brother. Okay, let's bring the camera back. How cool am I that I have a moving camera? Pretty cool. Some might say. We will find a better way another day. We will find a brighter day. That's what it was. Oasis. Yeah, let me check in with the chat. I know you guys have been chatty, and I got mad at that hydronium. You bought an okay, Isaac Anthony. I bought an Elektron analog drive for $4.99 on sale. I should have bought two at that price. Yeah, you should have. Everybody should have bought one. Just to be fair, okay, blah, blah, blah. We already saw that. Shout out Donner. That's what I'm saying, dude. Shout out Donner. Good for you, Donner. Thanks for sending this little unit over. I'm happy to show it off for you. I mean, this is no matter what. So me and my buddy, Femto, actually, who's in the chat, are developing our own stuff, our own hardware. And we've been working on it for a long time. Very quietly, and I'm not going to say any more than we are working on stuff, because it'll be a great surprise when it comes out. But we know what it's like now, working on that kind of stuff, what it's like to try and bring a product from nothing, even with my cable company, even with Modbang, developing my own cables, developing my own plugs for the cables, designing them to my specification, and bringing that into fruition, and with the hardware stuff that I'm talking about, it's a ton of work and heartache and frustration, and it's just a lot. So even a larger company like Donner, somebody had to come up with this design and get it to work and try and make it sound like a 303, and then get it out to people, and then reach out to people like me and all these other folks and try and get people to say nice things about their stuff, because everybody's so mean on the internet. So we're not going to say anything mean about Donner's stuff today, because they're nice people, and they made a nice little synthesizer that you can get for a very good price. So good on them. Good job, Donner. All right, so that was my blurb on 303s. I guess I'm done with that. Back to what the chat has to say. The gate light wasn't lighting up, so I imagine it's not the right MIDI channel. I did have the gate light lighting up, and I tried all the MIDI channels. It was triggering. I'll revisit it later. I don't want to do it now anymore. I've lost my luster for it. My luster for life is gone. Such skin... I can't say your name, but you said, I love your patching work, Octatrack effects, combinations, and so on. How come you don't add MIDI controllers from the Octatrack synths or even other effects? I do. I did do that, actually. my friend. I did a whole thing on it. I did a stream on it too. It's on my Patreon. I literally wrote a whole script for this, for my Octatrack, that you can get on my Patreon. It's only available on my Patreon. I don't have it on Coffee. Maybe that's why you don't know about it, because I didn't post it on Coffee. I don't know if I ever will. I think it's kind of maybe a Patreon exclusive. But this is a cool unit, and I wrote a script and 4 scripts for the 4 different parts on the Octatrack, and I also made a documentation for it, a visual documentation, so you can actually see where the effects are and what they do, what MIDI channels and what CC messages even. So if you want to use your own MIDI controller, you can. So the answer to that is, why don't I? I did, because I do. And more versatile, the better. I agree. If it really doesn't work, hit you up. I'm out. Okay, bye, Hauser. Add some reverb and delay and it's golden. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the reverb's pretty nice. Already tried the HX Stomp running through the OT. Nice. Gabriel says, sup, Matt? Quick question. Is it possible to control an external synth with the Octatrack via its MIDI out through? The MIDI out on the OT is being used already. No, it is not. The answer is no. You cannot control anything using a MIDI through. A MIDI through is literally just acts as another cable. It's like it acts as the same cable. So say the Octatrack is sending MIDI out here. It's going into the Digitact, and then it goes through the MIDI through. It's just a continuation of the cable. Just allows you to snake more machines together. That's it. You can't use it as a second MIDI output. That would require it to have, well, I don't know what it would require. It would require them to do something entirely different with their software architecture. But yeah, no, that's not how MIDI through works. There's almost no boxes I know of that MIDI through works that way. I know that some of the Elektron boxes will say like MIDI out, sync A and sync B, like it does here on the Digitact, Digatone, and the Syntact. But it's still just a MIDI through, as far as I know. Something else I want to point out that's really cool. Check this out. So Femto made this for me at my request. This is an Elektron stand that just keeps things keeps things flat, which is the way that I like things, because I don't want to have my hands curved up like this. It's really painful for me. I have like carpal tunnel, and so I need it to stay flat, but also I do this YouTube stuff. So anyhow, we're making these stands, and I'm gonna sell them on the Modbang shop for a very agreeable price. So basically just gonna pay for our efforts and the supplies to build them, but we won't have that many of them, so be on the lookout for that. But we're gonna have them in the shop, so we're excited to get those into people's hands. It works really, really well. It makes it so you can get your machine next to your other boxes, and now these MIDI cables and audio cables, they're all out of the way. And I can get more stuff on the screen, bring the lens closer to this, so that's great for me. But I really like it. I love how it looks. It's made me so happy. So weird how happy I am over that. Sign you up for the OT stand. What's up? Yeah, we'll definitely get you one, Circo. There's no doubt. You need that. You need that in your life. So I took a break from trying to get better at writing techno because it's so much work for me to write techno. I don't know why that's such a difficult genre for me, but it is. Every time that I think I've got it down, I turn it into like house music, or it turns into melodic music, and it's like, that's not my forte. It's not like what I excel at is techno or anything, or any of those other genres that I mentioned. I guess if I was anything, that my genre is electro house, like electronica plus house, like 4 on the floor electronica. I don't know. But naturally, I write darker, more synth wavy type sounds. So this is the newest track that I've been working on. that bass line, 2 tracks on the Syntact. Check this out. One of them slightly panned to the left. I'm using the dual VCO. Where am I using? No, I'm using Synth Raw with the ring modulator on this one. And then a sine wave on the other one. The one you're hearing right now has the sine wave plus a sawtooth. Like I said, slightly panned, and then this one slightly panned to the right. This is how I like to use the Syntact. I put them together and we have this huge sound. We've got some sidechain going on. It's happening on the Octatrack, but it could be happening. It could have been happening here. So that lead line that came in, that lead line's playing over the sidechain. That is just a C note on the Prophet 5 recorded into the Digitact. So it's playing over the sidechain that's happening on the Octatrack. That's one of the things you can do with the template that I have, that I give people on Patreon, on Coffee or whatever. But you could do it over here and this would also play on top of it. But I think playing on top of the sidechain is an important characteristic in electronic music. Sidechain has become a staple of electronic music. And the idea that these boxes can do it and do it so well, and now I have 2 boxes that can do it so well. Syntact does it very well, and because I have the Digatone routed into the Syntact, I always have access to it on this level before it gets to the main mixing stage that happens in the Octatrack. There's more to this track. Go to the next level of excitement right here. Put some snare rolls in here. is missing? Like, what is missing? What do we need? What do we need there? Reminds you of some good old 80s dark wave, kind of like Try Some 21. Oh, thank you. You just picked up what last week? Oh, the pedal. Yeah. If you're sounding with a Reese, that's not ever gonna sound techno. Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, I feel like I was like vibing on these hats. Big ol' ride on the offbeats. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I feel like this track fits along with a lot of the other vibes that I have in my current live set. So like, I'll just quickly run through like the main sounds of my live set. Some darker shit. Okay. More of a techno vibe. As you can see, I'm not writing techno. This sounds a little bit more techno here. This is like a closer or an opener. And then we have this, the newest addition to the live set, which is very far from complete. Probably be 2 more patterns into it. Some like high energy dancey shit. 12-bit Doom soundtrack. You're Alex Barnett, trying to understand the point made earlier. I'm trying to nail the techno genre, but can't seem to achieve. So lose the TB-03 that has any tail. Less busy in general and go harder with the kick. No, I hear you. The problem isn't that I don't understand how to make techno. The problem is that I can't stop myself from leaving the genre. I just end up going into more melodic elements. I'm driven by it. I'm driven by resolution and anticipation, and there's a lot less of that in techno. something I bring up all the time because I'm always struggling with this like love for techno and this love for like 4-part writing, harmony, singer-songwriter-esque content, because that's usually the kind of stuff that I just naturally come up with. So it gets brought up a lot on stream. I do understand how to make techno, but the 303 is not going anywhere. The 303 is just a part of the whole setup now. This is just going to be in my sets forever because I just want to always have access to this as either use it as a bass, because it actually can be a really great like actual bass line. Because I know a lot of the 303 stuff, if you don't have a second bass going with it, it doesn't fill the low end the way that I really want. I love like really thick bass. But I feel like the 303 is just like really good, or 03, TB-03 in this case, is a really nice flourish with your music, and you can really like just go nut. You can go ham on it, you know, and people go crazy when they hear it. It's a really good time. Yeah, I also like melodic techno for that reason. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like techno is doing a lot with very little, but when we have so many tracks, we just want to keep adding, at least for me anyway. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not even like a lot of the tracks I'm not even keep adding. It's just that I start singing in my head. It doesn't even matter. I love poetry, I love singing, and I love songwriting. And I will, even on a techno track, I'll start singing, and then all of a sudden a chord progression starts happening. And it's like, it's not supposed to, but it does for me. And then I start thinking about chords, and it just ends up happening. So sometimes I'll write like a techno track, and then the next pattern will break away from techno. That's kind of what happened here, actually. It's a good example of what I'm talking about. There's really not much going on here. There's not much melody happening here. There is this chord stab. So this turned into, hear me out, into this. This is a breakdown that happens. So those notes aren't usually in it. But then it turns into this. Not anywhere near that because I couldn't help myself. And check it out, it's pretty cool how it turns out. But very far away from where we were. I can't stop myself. I know. I'm not defending it so much as I just can't stop writing all this melodic shit. It's just what I do. All right, here we go. So there's some stuff missing from this. Mostly what's missing in my mind is vocals. And I will put them. I don't know if I'm gonna do that with you guys tonight, but I think I might use this and the in the vocoder to do my vocals for this track. The only problem that I'm having with that is that I want to play the chords, but I don't want to play it like this. I don't want to like, I don't want to use the OP1 and be like, and sing into this like this and try and play these chords without being able to like, it feels weird. Yeah, that is a sample of me singing. I am a singer. I know I don't do much of that here, but I did study. I did vocal training and all sorts of goodies and stuff like that, sang in bands. But I want to sing into this. So I want a microphone for the OP1. And I think you can get a USB-C one, or there's one that was made in collaboration with TE. There's also the headphones. I'm not buying those headphones. Not again. I actually did buy a pair of those. Not again. I did buy a pair of those headphones that go with the OP1 Field. Or go with the OPZ. I don't know if I would do. I'm not going to do it again, but I don't know if I'd recommend you do it. I don't know. I mean, they're cool. They're cute. They have a nice. They don't sound bad. They're just $100. Like you can get AKG 40s, or AKG. Is it AKG 40? AKG 270s, or something. That. Not 270. There's no way. AKG 240s. Headphones. For like $60 that are going to crush the Teenage Engineering little MX1s or whatever they're called. So yeah. So there's that. Embrace the melodic. Let it seep through you. Thank you, Jacob. Singing into the OP1 is a futuristic version of Melodyne. Is that what you said? I can't see it. Melodica? Streaming on Sundays is the best time. Having people come and hang out with you while you dink around in your machines is definitely a good time. I do want to add some elements to this song. Like all we did, so it's not that difficult to achieve this sound. On the Syntakt, or to achieve not this sound, but yes, the sound too, but to achieve where I am in my pattern structure. We have this part. The part that took the longest to program is easily the drums, right? That melody is pretty repetitive. The bass line is an 8-bar loop. It doesn't change during the 8 bars. It is 8 bars on purpose though, because I intend to have it change throughout the 8 bars. Actually, it does change. I've automated it by hand, going record plus play and just turning the knobs. And I do that a lot in my music production. I record the knob movements because it's the closest thing to automation I'm going to get. It is automation, but the closest thing to automation I'm going to get that I would get in Ableton or Bitwig or whatever you use. So that's why it's 8 bars. But also, writing in 8 bars is just the best way to go, I think. What was it like? I think a lot of tracker users would agree with that. A lot of people who work in trackers are writing in 8 bars, and that's where I got it from, was working in trackers. It was just really helpful. Oh yeah, a melodica. That's right, I know what that is, Jacob. Yeah, it is just like that, that's true. Enjoying the track thus far, no need for vocals. I want vocals though, I just don't know what emotion I want the lyrics to invoke. It's gonna be like a repetitive line. You know what, to be honest, I'm really like, I want to take this whole live set that I have. It's like 8 tracks right now. It's about an hour long. And I play it all the time. I try and add a new track to my live set every time I play so that I can vary my live sets. Because I don't usually play for an hour, I usually play for 30 to 45 minutes. So now I can kind of switch out this song with that song, this song with that song, or whatever. So the live sets are less repetitive. There's always a new song, plus some of the whatever favorites from the last set are in there as well. And that's kind of like my workflow with live sets. What was the point I was just making? Anyway, damn it. Totally lost my mind there. I've been thinking, I'm gonna take my live set, I'm gonna record it into an album, but instead of releasing it just as hardware electronic music, I think I'm going to sing over the tracks and release it more like a band would. because I miss writing lyrics and singing over music. And that could be fun to perform, although I think it would be really difficult to perform. I could use the Octatrack arranger to arrange it for me so that I could sing it live, but it would still be really tough. I don't know. Yeah, a little vocal sample adds a lot to the track. Yeah, just a little bit. It just needs a little bit. It just needs a human voice in there to just grab a listener and just anchor them to your music. I feel like a vocal sample can do that for you. It's just really powerful. Something you shouldn't omit from your music. If you can add a vocal sample, go ahead. I just sometimes I find it difficult. You go on like Loop Cloud or you go on Splice or something. I haven't really used Splice ever, honestly, but Loop Cloud I started looking into recently because of the Digitact integration. I was like, this is really cool. So I signed up for Loop Cloud, which I'll probably cancel now because I'm just not using it, so I don't want to pay premium. But I tried it out so far, and it does exactly what you need it to do. It drags samples over right into your Digitact. Works flawlessly. It's awesome. It's got all these great features. Super cool. Now, if I want to get a vocal sample, I like to use my own vocals just because why not? Because I can, so I take advantage of being able to do that. There's something about like grabbing pre-cooked vocal samples. I don't like, they don't have any heart for me. I suppose the music gives them heart, but in the moment that you're searching through them, I have a hard time emotionally connecting with the vocals because they're just little commercial slices. And so when they're put in context with the music, it happens. I feel it. The connection occurs then, but the connection for me doesn't occur in the moment that I'm looking. So I never find anything that I like because I'm just not able to connect. So I don't know. That's not helpful to anyone. That's just literally what happens inside my my body or mind or spirit. Probably all three, since we're talking of connection. Some sort of quantum entanglement happening here. All right. Hear me out. All right, here's Alex Barnett. We're gonna hear Alex Barnett out. Try out a couple more percussion elements so you can bring in and out to complement and contrast. Specifically, a brand new snare with a hard, distinctive transient and a bongo drum to play against the kick. Do you mean in this track? Particularly? Get a new snare? I like this snare. Does it need a new snare? Maybe I could get a new snare later on in the song. I did like hearing you out though. I like this. Loop Cloud is nicely set up, but my God, is it overwhelming? It's like going to Costco for paper plates and leaving with $300 worth of stuff and 100 ballpoint pens. That's what I feel like online sample shopping is like. I have no idea what I'm getting. Like I read that you're getting 40,000 44 16-bit loops and samples, and I'm like, good Lord, I just want the one-shots. Everything is overwhelming when it comes to sample shopping. It could be like a whole YouTube channel, sample shopping. We're going sample shopping, guys. Come on. Jay Hoomst? Oh my God, we're blessed by the Jay Hoomst? The Hoomst? What's up, dude? Let's say hi to, everybody say hi to Jesse. I love you, Jesse. It's my boy. It's my boy. Yeah, buddy, you're not alone. By the way, these recommendations are coming via alpha version of Techno GPT. Get out of here. I love Chat GPT. I pay for GPT-4, the premium, because oh my God, is it so useful. There's so many things on it that I'm like, explain this to me. It's like, boom, it explains it to me. I'm like, oh, thank you. I don't have to go on Google. I love ChatGPT. I love AI. I think it's cool. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to be subservient to the AI overlords. Let's go. Let's get this on the road. Let's get some, universal income? Give me some of that. Although I'm sure it's going to be hell that we have to go through before we get to a place where everybody's like, universal income. Probably all going to be just, the rich are just going to completely eat us. Whomst is that? That's Jesse. Jesse's the best. Jesse the bestie. What's up? The free ADSR sample manager is very nice to organize and slice. Drag to make one-shots. Whoa, seriously? The free ADSR sample manager. Let's see what you're talking about. ADSR sample man. How did it know I was searching for ADSR sample manager? Because I am pretty curious about that. Let's see. Let's go over to... Why is that so sideways? What's up with the black screen right there? Huh. We gotta do it over here? Is that why? No? Well, it's weird that there's the black thing on there. Get your ad out of here. We'll get back to this later. I don't like buying stuff, even if it's free. The AI, it knows all. Loop Cloud is what we're talking about, but Splice too. They're both huge sample conglomerates. They're like the Loop Cloud and Splice are like the Amazon of samples. It's like Amazon and I don't know what Loop Cloud would be. I think Splice would be the Amazon of samples. Loop Cloud is like, I don't know. What is second to Amazon? Nothing? I don't know. I guess they're both Amazon. I'm not sure. Okay. I do want to add some new elements to this music. We're basically just hanging out and chatting now, which is fun and great. I do like to do that. Maybe that's the best part of the stream anyway. The music production's fun and all that. If anybody has any questions, this is a good time to ask me questions. You know, not that I'm like, that I know everything or any of that, but I do know a lot about Elektron boxes and I do work at the synth shop. So if you do have some questions, feel free to ask me during the stream. This is a good time to do that. The black thing ties the room together. Alibaba. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would be Alibaba. Working on new modalities, e.g. MP3 input to be analyzed and suggested recommended progressions. That's what you're doing, Alex? Who are you? Who is this, Alex? It's doing all these magical things. Call you Magic Alex. My question is, how is EZBOT? Can we see her? She's here. She's being a good girl because she's not barking right now. She's out on the couch with my partner watching, I don't know what they're watching. Something good. You know what I recently started watching? Today. Just today. I don't know if you can tell. You probably can't tell. But I'm Italian. And, well, I'm a couple of things. But Italian is what people know me for because my family owned an Italian restaurant growing up. So that's like what people knew me in during high school and in my formative 20s when I was a debaucherous psychopath. I'm Italian, and my dad is extremely Italian, and my grandfather's 100% Italian, my grandmother's 100% Ukrainian, and which is another thing, of course. But Italian, New Yorkers, I live in Washington, but my father's a New Yorker. I started watching this show. This is what I'm getting to. Started watching Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone today, and it's hilarious. It just reminds me of my family so much. I can't stop already. I mean, Stallone is very old and his plastic surgery is like just barely holding them together, but he's definitely a lot of fun to watch. I don't know. I really just was enjoying that show today. Thought I'd share. You should watch it too. And LaCroix should sponsor me. These are all the advertisements I'm doing today. Alex is AI. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Tactical MIDI, what a great name. Is that a model samples in your profile picture? Esto cazzo? It looks like a model samples. Could be a cycles. Running the syntax into the Digitact, does that work like the analog rhythm with respect to sample and synth layering? Well, Tulsa King, Tulsa, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is where it takes place. Needs more cowbell, without a doubt. Running the syntax, let me answer this Saggy Dog's question. Saggy Dog, you're asking some good questions tonight. Running the syntax in the Digitact, it works like the analog rhythm would work. That's in my opinion, that's a silly job to do. I mean, it's not a silly thing to do. That's wrong for me to say that, because you might have a syntax, you might have a Digitact, and maybe you want to do that, sample stack. So it's not a silly thing to do in that regard. I just meant if you had an analog rhythm at your disposal, I would just do it on the analog rhythm. Doing the multi-machines to do sample layering is something that I think would work best doing with your DAW and sample layering in your DAW with the two machines if you wanted, because you could have a kick over here and a kick over here and then play live, but your kicks, the reason why I think it's silly is because there's just too many volume controls between the two machines to layer a sound together like that. Like you have your main outs, then you have your track level, then you have your amp level, you have your main outs, your track level, your amp level. Then you have this machine, if you're doing anything like what I'm doing, another volume like door for you to pass through. There's just obstacles. So I think unless the machine offers synthesis and samples directly in the machine, I would find that task to be it would just be too much of a burden, you know. That's just my opinion. I'm wrong about most things because I know very little. You're cleaning the studio right now, right on. I love cleaning the studio. Check this out. Here's more stuff that's cool. We're not even talking about music. Talking about cleaning the studio. Look at this sucker. Look at it. I dare ya. This is it charges over USB-C, which I love. I'm loving everybody adopting USB-C. It's got these brushes you can put on. So before I stream, before I do any videos, just all the time, I turn this thing on, charges, it's pretty powerful. It brushes my gear and blows off all the excess skin and hair that's falling off our bodies constantly. Big recommend. It's called the Mini Labeo. Mini Labeo. Mini Labeo. Trader to the living. Hi all. Hey, how's it going, Trader? Why did you betray us? That's what I want to know. Tactical MIDI. I just got the Roland SH4D because I can't get that analog 4 yet. How are you liking that Roland SH4D? That is a machine that I surprisingly haven't gotten my hands on yet, considering I do gear demo videos for a living and work with Korg and Roland. This is a Korg product, right? No, it's a Roland product. Roland all the time, and I still have not managed to get an SH4D in the studio. The Mini Labeo. It's literally MINLEBAO. Yeah, really great for cleaning up your gear. I do. This is a good sponsor me, Mini Labeo. Whatever. But the Roland SH4D, I gotta tell you, it looks better than most of the stuff they've come out with recently. I think it looks a lot better than the MC707, even though the MC707 is a much more robust and powerful machine than that SH4D. But the SH4D aesthetically looks like a prettier synthesizer to me. It looks a little easier to use, but I have a really hard time doing the Roland Groovebox thing. I think the workflow of the Elektron boxes has like just solidified in me, and I can't really get outside of it. This is like tracker workflow, just horizontal. So whenever I trackers I can use instantly. It took me no time to learn the Dirty Wave M8. I just picked the thing up. I was like, oh, this is just like an Elektron box, really. And same with like LSDJ, which is the same as the Dirty Wave. But same with the Polyend tracker, which I have here. I actually thought about bringing that out for the stream. Maybe I'll do that next week. We'll go Polyend tracker, have some tracker fun. But the Roland workflow, really hard for me. As you know, and I just talked about how amazing the TB-03 is, considering it's a digital replica of an analog synthesizer. They're awesome. Their sounds are so clean and punchy. Every one of their sounds punches through the mix, somehow. It's like they have these magic battering rams on their sounds that just go right through the mix. Their kicks just hit super hard. Their snares are beautiful. Their synthesizers are well thought out. Their patches are really nice. Like Roland they've been nailing it for a really long time. They've been in the game for so long. They do a great job. Their digital stuff is great. I am not a huge fan of the Zencore engine, though I have the JD-08 and it uses the Zencore engine. But the JD-08 is kind of a lo-fi synthesizer to begin with. It uses PCM and Zencore, so it's like little tiny samples plus Zencore. And yeah, so it sounds old, and it's supposed to. It's a replica of an old synthesizer. But I'm not like a huge fan of the new synthesizers with the Zencore, even though I think Zencore sounds good. And like Phantom, I think, has Zencore. A lot of their like flagships are all Zencore. That's like their main staple. I liked ACB. I think they should have just kept going with ACB and just made their synthesizers have more than 4 voices with the ACB technology. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, I liked it. Just don't use the Hoover to clean up. I shorted my laptop keyboard. I won't. Thanks for the tip. I like T a lot. I had to wait 1.5 weeks. Cons, no individual outs. 1.5 weeks ain't nothing, my friend. I waited 3 years to get a Circlon. Talk about waiting a long time for something. 3 years I was on a wait list before I got a Circlon. You know what I did with it? Nothing. I turned around and I sold it at the price that I got it for because I was like, 3 years ago I wanted this. Now I don't care. Now I am so into Elektron, it doesn't matter. No individual outs. I mean, when does that really matter? I think it definitely does, and you can give me a million reasons why it does. And I could too. And I have. I've argued individual outs before. But like I gotta say, like, when are we actually doing that? When are you actually using your individual outs? When you're jamming, like, it just doesn't happen as often. I feel like it's a feature that gets added to a lot of boxes, and like 1 out of 10 people are using that feature, which doesn't mean that they shouldn't have it, because it should be there for, professional studio use. I mean, it helps with multi-tracking. Like literally about to put my feet up here. But I don't ever use the individual outs. Even though I'm like, it has individual outs, I need to have them. I end up not using it. MC707 has ACB oscillators. Dope. See, I didn't know that. And the 101, dope. I didn't know that. Does the MC707 do more than 4 voices? The 101 only does 4 voices, I'm pretty sure. What do you think about FaderFox MIDI controller with endless encoders or anything with endless encoders? Good question. We have a FaderFox right here. I have the EC4. I used to have a PC12, I think it's called. I sold it to Jeremy Blake. Sold it to the good old RMR. It doesn't live too far from here. I think they're the best. It's definitely what you want. If you can afford a MIDI controller with endless encoders, that's what you should get, because they are the best. The only thing is that you have to get a really nice one. You can't get cheap endless encoders. So like, this is expensive. These things are like $400. $400. And it's just sitting over here. It's not like, it's just knobs. I don't know. There's something about, like, I'm having this like revelation lately where I'm like, $400, what am I doing sometimes? But you have to spend that kind of money to get something with endless encoders, because endless encoders are very finicky and they require like really precise installation. Ask Femto, he'll tell you about that. USB audio individual outs, Jordan just brought up, AKA Femto. That's where it's at. I agree with Jordan. USB audio outs is where it's at. That's where we're going to. That's the future of all this stuff. Overbridge is the future. More devices are going to have features like Overbridge. Every single Roland box has audio over USB. Like every single one that's come out in the last like 10 years, I think. They all have that feature. And I think it's a really important feature to have. The MPC DSP routed to controllers and knobs. That's awesome. I think it's all good. I do prefer endless encoders. I have a what's it called? Electro 1 Mark II on pre-order. I pre-ordered it quite a while ago. And it's a really comprehensive endless encoder, big screen, profiles that you can save. And I figure it'd be really good to have that because I can have profiles for each box, so I can map out the kind of things that I want controls of on the Elektron boxes that I don't have control of very easily is the stuff that's under the hood. Like delay time, feedback, mutes, some of them, track level. Well, track level's not really under the hood, but yeah, that could be a thing. Solo. So like, did you know that these boxes can solo? At least I know the Digitact can. You can solo tracks. That's a real feature. You can solo on Octatrack too. I don't know if you know this, but if you hold Q and select a track, it'll solo that track. So you have to be in the mixer mode or on the mixer keyboard. And you can solo tracks, which is cool. But soloing tracks, I think, is a really powerful feature that we don't have very easily in the Elektron ecosystem. The Digitact can do it, but only via MIDI controller, which I find very frustrating. But you can do it with a MIDI controller. What exactly does this thing do? What do you use it with? Are you referring to the EC4? So what I was using the EC4 with was Bitwig. So I used this for live coding. And the last time when I picked it up, I was using it for a live coding performance that I did at the synth shop with Orca and Bitwig. And I wanted to have a controller for controlling the synthesizers in Bitwig. So that's what this was for. I also mapped it. I made a mapping for the Analog Rhythm Mark I. It would work on the Mark II as well. But I made a mapping on here. It's still on here. A full mapping to all the scenes on the Analog Rhythm. And the way it works is if you push down, it will mute a scene. How does it work? Hang on. So the way I had it set up, so what I used this for was to turn my Analog Rhythm, which I do have a rhythm, I just don't use it very often on stream or anything, into like an Octatrack. So I mapped these to velocity in the performance macro. The performance macros on the Analog Rhythm respond to velocity. So if you map a controller to velocity, you can assign like high pass, low pass filter to all of your tracks and then be able to turn that up and turn that off. And by pressing on here with the endless encoders, because that's what a lot of endless coders can do, it'll reset to 0. So I could go up with a high pass filter and then hit this button and it will reset back to 0. So I was able to use the Analog Rhythm very much like the same way I use the Octatrack. So you could play a live show, I think with this and an Analog Rhythm, and that's it, very well. It would be very techno. That's like a great box for making techno or house, just because like you're limited to 12 tracks, you have to be very clever. So it keeps it very minimal, so you can't go overboard with a bunch of melody. So it's a cool idea, I think, mapping the velocity to the controller and then using the velocity on the performance macros. Performance macros, that's something that these boxes have, the Digitact doesn't have, but these two, did you know that you can route, like if we go into the Digatone setup, check this out. We have pitch bend, velocity mod, modulation wheel, breath controller, and aftertouch. And you know what else you can do? Up here at the top, you can actually turn off velocity to volume, turn it to off. So it'll just be a default level of volume. Then you go down to velocity mod and assign macros just like you do on the Analog 4, Analog Rhythm, Syntact, because it also has this, and Octatrack. So in that exact same way, then because we turned off velocity to volume, our notes, the velocity here now becomes a macro for 4 controls at the same time. So that's a really powerful feature. That's something that I have used. I don't remember to use it all the time because it's like you have to go through a setup and remember that you can do all that stuff. But it's a really cool trick, is to use a velocity mod, turn off the velocity, send it out to 4 different controllers. So technically you could go in to your velocity and like run it to change the tracks. You just press, no, it's on a per track level. Never mind. So I would just go to like synth level. Yeah. Play with the synth AB levels, which is going to be the most powerful timbre change on the digatone. Set those to macro controls. Maybe not too much. You don't want to like completely. Sometimes it'll thin out the sound a lot when it gets the waveform gets too complex. It just kind of becomes like a bar, and then it won't like sound like much at all. But it's a cool trick. You can do it on your Syntact, and you can do it on the model cycles too. So that's one of the more affordable Elektron boxes that you can do this trick with. I don't know. Tips and tricks. That's what Elektron Talk's all about, right? Tips and tricks. Agree, Overbridge just finds the new standard. Yeah. Are you using Digitone just for drums? I do not use the Digitone for drums at all. I use the Digitact for all of my drums and vocal samples, and then lead lines that I play over anything that's being sidechained. The Digitone for me is just a polysynth. It's just it's an FM polysynth, but it has subtractive synthesis. So to me, it's just a synthesis. It's just a synthesis. To me, it's just a polysynth. And then I use the Syntact for auxiliary sounds. So like, not auxiliary in the idea that that sounds like bass lines are auxiliary sounds, because they're not. But what I mean by auxiliary is it's just like an extension of these other boxes. Its function is malleable. It changes. It is not immutable in any way. I constantly use it for a different feature. Sometimes it does bass, sometimes it does lead, sometimes it does chords, sometimes it does pads. Sometimes it does percussive sounds, but it won't replace the kick, snare, and hi-hat, because I use the Digitact for that, because I like to use a specific sound for my music, and the Syntact has a limited amount of sounds that it can make because it's a synthesizer. I know that might sound off, but a sampler has a larger sound pool than any synthesizer. Any sampler is, strictly because samplers take snapshots of audio. So anything I can generate here, I can copy and put into the Digitact. So that's why I use samplers for drums. Plus, the Digitact has a compressor. And I like to compress my drum bus if I can, because compressed drums sound great. Not everything compressed always sounds good, but drums typically sound good, even with just mild compression. How's everyone still awake? It's my bedtime. It's only 9 o'clock, Nick. 9 p.m. West Coast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm so sleepy. Yeah, I feel you. I'm tired too. Wait, I had no idea you just said about the macros on the DN. Wait, did you miss it? You need me to say it again, or did you not know? A video on that would be dope. I could do a video on that. I'm always looking for ideas for videos, I suppose. Kind of. Not too many people using the Digitone keys. Buford. You're right. NRF. Connie, what's up? Jesse and Connie? Two of my Patchworks homies in the same stream? NRF is a great Octatrack user. Another dual Octatrack user, like myself. Hopefully we'll do a stream with Connie at some point and get Connie on one of these Elektron talks. Thomas, what's up, dude? What's going on? Why is my whole crew is showing up? Jesse, Thomas, and Connie. This is amazing. Holy smokes. So good to see everybody. You guys are the best. So good to see you. Well, you're not. I can't see you. So I'm sad. I was happy, but now I'm sad. Hi, EZBOT. Is the same type of compressor in the Digitact as in the Rhythm? Which one you like? The compressor in the Rhythm is not the same. The compressor in the Rhythm is an analog compressor, from what I understand. The one in the Digitact is a digital compressor. I would say the one in the Digitact is more akin to the compressor you find in the Octatrack. But the Digitact one is better, because the sound quality in the Digitact is better, and the Digitact compressor has sidechain, so you can eliminate frequencies that are compressed, which is great for making you not kill your lows and your kicks, or carve out any of the little low end that's in your snare drum so it doesn't sound weak. You can choose to avoid that in your compressor with the sidechain filter. Plus, it allows you to choose different destinations to sidechain from. So that's really great. Octatrack compressor doesn't have that. Rhythm compressor does not have that. My Octatrack threw me a checksum error the other day. I wonder if my Mark 1 is on its way out of this world. I hope not, because from what I understand, Connie, is that repairs at Elektron are taking anywhere from like 1 to 3 months to get an Octatrack repaired. That's like no joke. They're like, it's just taking a really long time for I don't know if it's partly because of shipping, but I just think that they're like, they just don't have enough folks working on it right now or something. I don't know, but that's just what I've been hearing. So hopefully that's not the case. But if it is, you can always borrow my Octatrack. Speaking of which, I do need to take a look at, maybe use my analog heat again sometime soon. You're not seeing me. Hey, at EZBOT, been enjoying the EDM prod courses, helping me get my creativity back. I don't know, what are those? I'm not familiar, but I'm glad that you're enjoying whatever you're doing. That makes me happy. I like seeing that. Honey Smack, you can mimic side in on OT. What do you mean? Tell me what you mean. I'm curious. This is something new to me. You can mimic the sidechain input on the Octatrack. You can mimic sidechain pumping on the Octatrack. I know that because it's in my template and I made the tutorial for it all those years back. But I don't know about mimicking sidechain into an actual compressor. I don't think that's quite a thing. I think you showed us it. Well, oh, you're literally talking about what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. No, you can't really. You can just do ducking by using an LFO or by using the envelope in the filter section or by using the LFO on the amplifier section, which does not sound good. So don't use the amplifier with the LFO. It's an inverted exponential wave at 4x speed, at 16 speed, 4x multiplier, 16 speed, whatever depth you want, and modulate the filter width. That's going to give you sidechain pumping. And use these one-shot triggers, which is function plus down on the sequencer, hold it down, hit no to turn them into one-shot sequencers that'll actually trigger your LFO or your filter envelope. Otherwise it won't work. You do need these bright green triggers. But no, you can't actually mimic what the Digitact does. The Digitact's actually using an envelope follower, which will follow that audio signal and then duck based on that signal. But that would be cool. The Octatrack is not gonna, it's never gonna have those things. It's always workarounds with the Octatrack. The EDM production tutorial on track analysis was helpful. I went through it and it helped me listen to some tracks more deeply. Oh, you did it too. That's cool. Very cool. Using the P-lock envelopes. Yeah, you got it, Honey Smack. You nailed it. How can the Digatone sit so close to the Octa without the cables attached? The cables are attached. This is the magic that Jordan and I, well, Jordan made it happen, but this was something I requested of him. These are special stands for the for Elektron boxes. I'll have them in the Modbang shop soon. Probably next week. You can pick them up for yourself. They make it so, it's so nice. I gotta say, it's really nice having this stand. Feels great. No one knows what compressors do. It's a worldwide conspiracy. There was a long time where I really did feel that way. A colony of microorganisms sits in the waveform compressing it. That sounds like the truth. That sounds like a reality. Kroglon, thanks for the info. I had to rewind this to hear it again, though. Wait, which one did you want? It's the same type of compressor in the Oh, okay. Yeah. You asked me the compressor question. Okay. Sound quality is better on Digitact. It is because the Digitact is got just newer hardware, but also because it's 4816 as opposed to 4424. And I know that you'd think that just 4,000 samples isn't that much, but it really is. 48 is something I can hear pretty well, I think, when it comes to just, it's the high end that you lose. So when you go directly from your Digitact into your computer, like over Overbridge, it sounds just crystal clear. As soon as you take or just even just your audio outs from the box going through its amplifier section right into your mixer, it just sounds really crisp. As soon as it goes into the aux track, it's just it's a minor. It's so minor that like you get used to it immediately and you can't even tell. But for a moment, you can hear that the highs are just not quite as crisp. That's where the analog heat really comes in. So if you run everything into the analog heat after here, you can boost those highs just a little bit and add a tiny smidge of harmonic distortion and pseudo compression from the analog heat, and it will just glue this all together and bring back the tiny little fragments of high-end samples that you are missing from your audio. So that's what's so good about the analog heat. It does a really great job with that. I hope they add a compressor to Syntact. You and me both, Nick. Good Lord. That would be great. Hey, what the fuck? How did you tag me? I don't know. You can tag people in the chat. Ross Beaton, any tips on battling MIDI latency of external instruments that are not sequenced by your electrons? I use the MRCC. So it's a large MIDI controller. We sell them at Patchworks. So, and I have actually a link to it in the video description, I think. It's something that I try actively push people to buy because it's so useful to have in your studio. But it's this like long box. It just has a ton of MIDI jacks on it. It has USB host jacks. So you can use things like OP1s and OPZs and any other MIDI USB related boxes, and it will actually power those boxes. So if you had something like a Kuhn, little Kuhn Mark II here, you could power it and get MIDI into the Kuhn Mark II right over MRCC. And it'll power all of your controllers as well. And then you can route them on the MRCC. So that's what I use to battle latency. I use a powerful MIDI router. So instead of it all being daisy chained, and then eventually like it's just losing some of its signal strength throughout the daisy chain, everything can go into your MRCC, and then you route it in the MRCC, and that signal is then being generated from the MRCC and out from there. And that'll battle that latency for you. Otherwise, you can get a MIDI dronome, or you can get the other MIDI clock. It's just so expensive. The other one, use the analog clock. So does the MIDI dronome, and that one's just coming out. I think it's still in Kickstarter phase, but it should be out soon. Yeah, I mean better verse Octatrack. Yeah, exactly. Microtiming shift all notes earlier, but then you miss the first note. For battling MIDI? I don't know. That doesn't seem like a very good way to beat MIDI latency. That sounds like hell. Yes, second the compressor on the Syntact. Yeah, for real. Doug, I have my analog heat Mark II as a dedicated part of the pipeline after a Suno Buono NABC plus compressor. Well, that's cool. I mean, that is a lot going on for post-process. Some really nice stuff. I don't even know how I'd say that thing. The NABC plus looks really cool. I looked at picking one of those up. It has sidechain and sidechain filtering. It does all those things. Jacob Rutherford, JHS pedals summed it up. Compressors are like when a mom on the ground floor yells out that it's time for dinner. What? How does that sum it up? Billy, listening to death metal on the second floor and dad chilling the basement are brought together for a beautiful family dinner. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. You took it home at the end there. Why all the different volume positions on your boxes? Why not just crank everything full volume and going into the OT? That's a good question, Nick. One I'll never tell you the answer to, because it's a secret that'll die with me. No, the reason is because when I was playing one of the larger events that I've played, I wrote a new song, and that new song was really loud. I don't even want to regurgitate this story. I have been writing all the music at this level for a while. In my opinion, all the boxes should be at 12 o'clock. I don't want to send really hot signals into the Octatrack. Like, even though it has improved headroom with the Mark II revision of the Octatrack, balanced inputs and all that, I don't like sending hot signals into it. It clips really easily. So I send mild signals that just keep it like green, and then I go out to something else, like the analog heat or a mixer or a compressor, and I boost that's where I do my gain there, instead of gaining here. I don't like the idea of turning these all the way to max at all. I don't recommend doing that. I don't know why. I just don't think it's a good idea. I turn down my tracks. That is what I do. I control everything with my tracks. You can actually use Control All with your track level, and it will adjust all 8 tracks at the same time. So if I write a track that's too loud, I do go through and hold track and turn it down. When I did this, it's just stuck this way now. I don't want to go in, and there's a lot of songs in here, and I have to go in and do Control All to bring them all to the same level if I adjust these. Like, it's just a chore, so I've just left it this way. That's the real answer, is I don't want to deal with the chore of adjusting the volumes, because this works. Even though it's not as pretty, having these lame little stickers, but they work. Just turn down your tracks. Bro, just turn down your tracks. Yeah, MRCC is very good. What was the mini box? That was the MRCC by Conductive Labs. They also have a smaller version of it, but it doesn't have USB host. Do you use the heat in the setup with the Trio Octatrack? I do. I don't right now because NRF, who has been chatting in here, actually has it at the moment. Sounds like a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It's what I'm saying, dude. Gain staging, bro. I like using my Syntact as an adjunct via overbridge when working mostly in the DAW. Right. Okay. Not MIDI clock. What if the external instrument has no sequencer? If you sequence everything from your Octatrack, Poly 6 takes 5 milliseconds per note to generate a note on message, and TD3 it takes 8 milliseconds. Really? 8 milliseconds? Dang. If you sequence everything from your Octatrack, I mean, I don't really know. There's not really a good answer for this stuff. Yeah. I mean, the MRCC is gonna boost that signal, I believe. If the MRCC doesn't literally convert it and then re-send it out right then and there, I don't know if it does that or not, but it has all sorts of filtering it can do, and it can add messages. So I don't know. I don't have any trouble with this stuff. I know this gets brought up a lot for folks, and it's never been an issue for me. I never have trouble with MIDI latency or anything. It just always is fine. But that's partly because I work with like just a few boxes at a time. I don't like using this I don't have like a circle of synthesizers around me that are all plugged in. What I have on the table here right now is the only thing that makes sound in my studio. I do have like guitars and amplifiers and some drums over here, but that's not this. It's a whole different thing. Although I did, and I am making a video on this, I did hook up the Nord Drum 3P to the Digitact so I could sequence the Digitact with drums, which is going to be cool when I make some tracks doing that. And I have a MIDI guitar that's coming eventually. Apparently Star Labs is super busy, so they have not been able to get it over to me. Does your MRCC help at all when sequenced from one device? I think it does. I don't know if I'm right, but I think it does. Calderwood, let's hear some music. I know there's been no music. We're actually coming to the end. There was some music like a long time ago, but we're coming towards the end of the stream. I'll play a little bit of the track that I'm working on, and then I'm probably gonna call it because we're almost at 2 hours, and 2 hours is my max because I would need to have a life. But here we go. Let's see. Let's start off with just a kick and the bass line. Whoops. What does that sound? This? Get out of here. That's supposed to be like this. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna definitely have some vocals over this soon. This is what the hi-hat track looks like. It's actually kind of a pain to program this drum line. Or let's go. Kind of cool. We can play with that for a second. Oh wait, no, wait. Can we go half scale? Damn it. Do that again. Let's give it a bunch of reverb. Make it a little bit quieter. I think that is supposed to be on this page. Where is that supposed to be in here? okay. We could sidechain pump this with the syntax. We don't need it to be poly. Let's go to mono. Need the sample first. Sample first. Damn it. This is what I'm talking about right here. I didn't forget. Later, Trader. Gotta crash. Take care. Thanks for hanging out, Trader. I gotta crash too, or I gotta stop streaming. Let me check out the dope jam. You need to release more music. Thanks, man. Ethan, sup, easy, sounds good. Awesome jam, thank you. Yeah, most of this stream is not a jam. We did do a little bit of music. Mostly we're just hanging out and talking. So hopefully there's some data people are able to glean from here that's useful. Much as you love the NPC pads, there's something so satisfying about the clicky Elektron buttons. I do love the clicky buttons. I do think the NPC pads are even better though, if you're gonna finger drum. Finger drumming on these things sucks. But it is still fun to play with. Vibrations. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out. This is a Sunday night stream. I started a little bit late because I was watching Ricky Tinez's stream, which he doesn't do very often, so it's cool to do that. If you want to support this channel, subscribe to this channel, leave a kind comment. That helps the algorithm pick me up and maybe other people will watch. And you know, yeah, that would be nice for me, so I appreciate that. Also, if you could email LaCroix and tell them that I have been drinking Kroger 0 calories caffeine-free seltzer water and that they haven't given me a sponsorship yet, and let them know that they're failing me in a very huge way and that I'm highly disappointed and may never get over such a betrayal. But I will continue to drink their drink once this drink runs out. But if you could all email them and tell them exactly what I just said, word for word, that'd be really helpful, because I think I deserve their sponsorship more than anyone on this planet. I have all the data backing that up, that I am the most deserving on the planet, and I think you can all agree that it's true. So if you could help me with that, that'd be really great. Otherwise, you could just subscribe to the channel, join the Patreon, visit my coffee page, get my template if you'd like. I'm working on the techno template. I've been saying that for a while, and that's because it took me a long time to decide on how I want to do it, but I've decided, and I'm going to be finished with it soon. You can join the Discord. There's over 2,000 members there. We'd love to have you. It's a very safe, friendly place, active marketplace, really cool to hang out and chat. Some great members. I'm there all day long. So if you want to hang out with me, come and hang out with me. That would be great. Anyhow, thanks so much for hanging out. Y'all are the best. I can't wait to see you again next Sunday. Look forward to a new video coming out this week from yours truly, a video, not a stream, about this setup and about how I like to use it and why it is the best setup and can accomplish all of your musical goals for live performance right in this quad box setup. That's coming out Tuesday or Wednesday, so look forward to that. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Drink bubbly, stay cuddly. Drink bubbly, stay cuddly. I just made that up. See, that's another thing LaCroix could be saying with my face on their cans. Can you imagine? EZBOT LaCroix tastes like TV static and electrical cables and drum samples. That'd be great. You gotta call it LaCroix. I don't know how to say it, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. Just winging it, dude. All right, I'll see you guys next Sunday.